Hi, welcome to Take It to the Max podcast. I'm Vicky Harper and I'm joined by Steve Harper, the director here at IT Desk.
Exciting.
Yeah, very.
Very exciting. Now, today we were talking about some of the unsung features and products sort of within the 365 stack. Hopefully some people will find it useful, but these are some ones we picked out that we think, are great products. We'll start off with, I know one that you've probably maybe haven't used, Vic, as much. Power Automate used to be sort of Microsoft Flow.
Yeah, we did used to use Power Automate before we invested in HubSpot. And it's really, really good if you're wanting to do simple tasks that are manual, quite manual. So it can read emails, prompt an email. This is prior to Copilot. And it can automate things. So if something comes into your inbox, for example, that needs something actioning, if it comes from a particular user or sender, it can automate that task that you want it to do, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that case I've seen it used for one of our clients is sort of around when invoices are sent to like an accounts inbox, it triggers a set of workflows around that, sort of prompt somebody that one, it's coming, it needs to be dealt with. Then, once it's in there, they're sending out like an approval request. Again, just to sort of speed up the lines of communication a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah, we used to use it when a booking came into the calendar. So if somebody had filled out the Microsoft booking form online for some time to talk to you, for example, it used to then send us an automation, and then an automatic reply would go out to that customer to say that it's been scheduled.
Yeah, I think, like I say, from a time saving point of view, and just removing unnecessary loops of communication, I think Power Automate can be sort of a really strong tool. It's not incredibly difficult to sort of use it. It's very sort of visual in the way it's put together, I think, which means that you don't have to be sort of a Microsoft expert to implement it, really.
No, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So yeah, that was number one. Number two, one that we use quite a lot already, Microsoft Forms.
Yeah, so Microsoft Forms has been another level for us. In two aspects, really. We mainly use it is for the before we meets. Absolutely fantastic at gathering information from the customer or potential customer, and depending on their answers, it takes them down a different route. Which is great. And the analytics that come out of the other side, how long it's taken them to fill in. All that data from all of the collective customers. So if we're seeing a trend in answers, do we need to do something in action from that, which is fantastic. And again, it's all prepped. So we're all ready to go into that meeting to understand the customer's needs before we even get there.
I think, that the before we meet is a great example of Forms, but it's just one small use case, isn't it, really? I mean, we could use it internally for onboarding if you were wanting to gather, uniform size, any way you need to sort of gather information from lots of different places, but into one central structured way. I think is the best way of probably describing Forms.
Yeah, it is. For the uniform, that would just took a manual task into such a simple task. So any new starter that comes now fills these forms in so that we've got their uniform size, what they actually want, if they want a polo or a round neck. And when we were rebranding, getting everybody in the office to fill out that were just a game changer for us and for the uniform provider at the other end. And then it saved human error so that we couldn't get blamed if we put different sizes down for people, and they would put ownership on them as well.
Well, I'd say it puts the responsibility in whoever's filling the form. Really, doesn't it? But yeah, it's another really, really great tool because you can use it internally, but you can also make the forms available externally as well. Again, one that I've never used to a great degree, but I know your team, and for anybody who doesn't know, Vic runs our marketing department. Microsoft Project.
The trio is our dream. So we go from Microsoft Project, which outlines the entirety of where a campaign is, what needs to get done. It's the master plan of what's happening within the department all at one time. So we can have a different project running for a different campaign for a different brand. From projects, it then talks to planner and we can plan out the work. So the who's doing what time scale it needs to be done, and it collects it. We can put it into buckets, for example. So we have a completed, to do, in progress, or on hold.
Yeah.
And then in the to-dos, it granulates right down into each individual person's to-dos. So you can have a separate to-do list of what you've got to get done in your daily tasks and in your workflow. And also your to-dos come from your email. So if you've flagged an email, that goes into your to-do. So in your to-dos, you've got your emails, stuff you need to action. You've got the things that you've put in there personally that you've made a note of. You've got the things that have come from Planner, and then you've also got your things that have come from projects.
So I use to-dos a lot and I love it. And one of the reasons I love it is the app can live on my phone, on my laptop. Is the same thing sort of in terms of planning? Can you view the planners and stuff?
You can view the planners. Yeah, you can. You can view the planners at the higher level and see where everything is on your phone. It's not as nice to look at, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's just there, and you can scroll through everything that you need.
Again, being devil's advocate, so we're not just giving all the benefits. Is there anything that is a drawback to it?
Yeah, so in projects there is you put the allocated time in that you think it's going to take to do that project, and there's, for example, that for a blog section, let's say we might need to do 5 different blogs to get one job done.
Yeah.
But those blogs have the different to-dos, and it doesn't recognize is some of the time that you've allocated to write the blog and then Grammarly it and then put it onto the website isn't taken into account when you're marking each individual task off. So then you have to go in and remark things, which is sometimes a bit annoying, and it doesn't allocate the right amount of time for that.
It's probably if you're wanting to track the time, should say, mega accurately, maybe it's probably not the tool. But if as a sort of a broad project management tool to sort of easily see who should be dealing with what, I guess.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it is, and that's only because I need to know, is there a better way of writing these blogs, and that's all we would allocate that time track for, really.
So what's kind of, again, from my point of view, I kind of see this stuff in our meetings, but don't really probably appreciate fully how it's put together. What would you say is sort of the main difference between projects and planner?
Projects is the master plan. So that's where you put what the overall campaign is all about. So what you're trying to achieve, your achievements, what's the time scale in that. And then planner we use to plan the workload, who's going to do what, who we're allocating this to. And then again, it goes into their own to-dos. Cool. So yeah.
Cool. Very good. Next one on the list, we've got OneNote. Again, OneNote's been around for ages, but I think it's sort of come into its own a bit more sort of the last sort of few years. Again, one of the things I love about OneNote is it's across all your devices, so you can be making notes on your phone, on your tablet. It all just syncs back to one place. It's all searchable. You can use hashtags, at people in there, and things like that as well. I mean, you don't use OneNote.
No.
Any reason why?
I don't really know what it is, and I like my Apple Notes because it syncs back to my phone.
I mean, there's a lot of similarities.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, what a tough word. A lot of similarities with it, but yeah, I think anybody that likes the another great word, familiarity of the Microsoft sort of stack. OneNote, yeah, it's a great sort of included product with 365. So anybody that's not using it and does struggle to kind of think, I've got 1,000 notebooks sort of, in my car, in my bag, at home, and you just want that central place to sort of store your notes. It's a great way of doing it.
I do love a notebook. So would it work on my iPad, for example, and I could handwrite on there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, next one, which I was really surprised. I'd not heard about this particular Microsoft product until recently when we started using it. It was Microsoft Clarity.
Oh my God, game changer.
Again, not part of the 365 suite, but a free Microsoft product.
It's fantastic.
Again, you guys use it sort of a lot in your department. Do you want to give everybody a bit of an overview of what Clarity does?
So Clarity is absolutely fantastic at giving you analytics from your website. Basically, it gives you a heat map. It shows you where people fall off visually if your website's boring, halfway down, it'll go cold and it'll show you that on a color gradient, which is fab. It shows you the clicks. It shows you any rage clicks, buttons that are not working. It tells you how long they've been on. It shows you what pages they've been on. To be fair, it's a little bit stalkerish if we're going down that. But from a marketing angle, it just means you can change so much. So if you've got a call to action that's not getting any heat down at the bottom, pull it up. And you can just see what they're reading. You can see where people are holding on to words on the mouse, and you can follow them so you can see where they're reading and if they're getting bored or if something's not quite making sense, because then they're like trying to click on something that's not there. Then automatically you can just make a change to your website to make it user friendly, and it gives you a better insight.
It's definitely clever from an, like you're saying, an insights point of view. Just to sort of understand, like you said, the journey and how people actually interact with the website and the content on there. I mean, I was sort of fascinated by some of the recorded stuff. I also like it kind of shows you where the traffic's coming from as well. So you kind of again have a good idea. Okay, well, you know, I'm getting a lot of sessions coming from, say, Google Ads. But you can actually see whether any of those sessions are meaningful, even if they may or may not have sort of led to an inquiry. It's kind of whether, well, you know, it helps you sort of see whether your Google Ads is working as it should be. Because if they're straight on and straight off, you know, potentially your ads aren't performing, you know, as well as they should be, but you're spending a lot of money to sort of get them there. And I think that's the thing. It kind of, you know, it illuminates some of the darkness a little bit. It's kind of what goes on when people do get on there.
And it also shows you the user. So it shows you, it gives them a number, for example. So if they've returned, it shows you where they've returned from, where they left off. If they've had a break, so if they've been on it for example, we had one other day that were on it for 3 minutes and 4 seconds, then they had a break for 15 minutes and then they came back on. So it tracked that person, which were great. And then it shows you also the exit, and it shows you what country they're in. So again, if your ads aren't working because you're getting lots of users from other countries, or if they're from UK, whereabouts in UK are they from? So if we've done a campaign aimed at people in Sheffield, are we getting a lot of traffic from Sheffield? And it's more insightful than Google Ads can be and Google Analytics, and it's just more visual, and I love a good visual representation of customer journey.
So like I said, it does a lot to say that it's free.
It's free. I couldn't believe it was free.
Yeah, from what I've seen, there's not even like a limit to it as well. Because I know we've got like multiple sites set up on there, so it's not like it's limited to one site or anything like that.
And multiple users, which is great. And you can manage access and role permissions. So again, great all round tool.
No, awesome. Again, not one I use personally, but I think, again, with it being a bit more of a creative product, Microsoft Whiteboard.
Yeah, we love a good whiteboard. Again, for particular reasons around security, we don't have whiteboards up in Office anymore. So we use our Microsoft whiteboards within Teams. So in our Teams chats and Teams channels, the marketing team basically can post-it note things on there from ideas to brainstorms, and it is basically what it says in tin. It's a whiteboard, but on your laptop, and it can be shared on multiple channels.
Lives in Teams. You can get to.
It can live in Teams. Yeah, we use it from in Teams, so it sits in our Teams chat, and it's great. Again, it's another unsung tool that people don't know about, and especially if they're wanting to get rid of those big whiteboards off of walls and stuff. It's great, and it streams across multiple platforms, so you can pop it on the TVs up and around Office as well, and everybody can update it at the same time. So if you're in a meeting, you want to brainstorm, everybody can write their ideas on and pin it on all at the same time.
Very good, cool. Next one on the list, one I personally do really like, Microsoft Stream. So again, people probably have experienced Stream, but not maybe knowing that they've used Stream. So anybody that uses Teams to record meetings, and then when you're reviewing that basically lives in Stream. But what's really cool with it is, especially if you kind of twinning it with Copilot and having the meetings recorded with transcription and and sort of the AI note side of things, you get a really comprehensive sort of look at what happened in the meeting, any sort of chapters it's broke it down to on key points, the to-do lists that are generated. But again, what you can then do with that, if you want to, is you can share that with other people. So if you've sort of had a meeting and think, well, actually, that'd be really useful for, somebody else within the business or a strategic partner to sort of collaborate on, you can share that with them, whether it's internal, external. If they've got Copilot as well, they're going to get access to all the sort of the transcription and all this sort of the AI generated notes in there. I find it such a time saver because I'm in general on meetings terrible at note taking.
Yeah.
And if I have took notes, I can't read what I've wrote after. So yeah, using something like Copilot and Stream to sort of then be able to go back and go, all right, okay, yeah, this is what everybody said. This is what everybody's going to do. This is what I need to do. And then you can pop them straight into your Microsoft to do. Make sure they're going to get done. So yeah, Stream for me, absolute sort of life changer, really.
Oh wow, better than a game changer,
Better than a game changer, a life changer. Next one is Microsoft Bookings. Again, something we use. Across the business, sort of at the minute for scheduling sort of time, and with people within and outside the business. Do you want to give us a bit of an overview of Bookings?
So we use Microsoft Bookings, that we integrate it into our website basically. So if a customer wants to use it to book some time with you, they can. If anybody from outside the business wants to use it to book some time around a consultation, they can. We've got all different calendars / bookings set up for different events, so we know what they want to talk to you about. So for example, we've got one on there about Copilot. So they can book a Copilot chat with you. They can book oh gosh, what else have we got? We've got all sorts. My brain's gone dead. I'm sorry.
Dynamics.
Yeah, Dynamics. Sorry, I'm being a bit.
I get what you say. The different use cases.
Different use cases.
And you can assign different blocks of time as well, can't you?
Sorry, and you can assign it to different people.
Yeah.
So it's good.
It's good from a self-serve point of view because, like, again, the amount of times I've got into sort of quite long email discussions with people and saying, what's your availability? Can you do this time? Oh, no, that time's now gone. And you're backwards and forwards. And again, just as a general time saver using Bookings, somebody can just click on the link, see the live diary and kind of go, okay, there's a slot there that suits me. And then, that's just done and dusted.
And they can also, within that as well, they can book it in person.
Yeah.
So it also then takes into consideration, if it's an in-person booking, time for travel.
Yeah.
And it also takes into consideration a buffer if it's a Teams chat that they want in, so that you can tell Bookings if you want a 5-minute buffer, a 20-minute buffer, or an hour's buffer, for example, before that meeting is due to start if you're coming out or another meeting.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you've got something already in your calendar that you're not even going to be here for, it opens that up as well.
Yeah, no, cool. And then the final one I've got on sort of my list is Power Apps, which again I see it as a very up and coming sort of Microsoft product, which for anybody that's kind of got a bit of a problem thinks we could really just do with like a really nifty sort of little app to sort of manage this rather than it being a massive spreadsheets and sort of email communication. Power Apps is basically a no-code platform for you to sort of build little apps within the Microsoft ecosystem. So again, very intuitive in terms of its drag and drop sort of capabilities. A use case I've seen this used a few times before is one is sort of holiday management, people sort of booking holiday time and stuff like that. Another one would be, again, like a HR onboarding sort of system where, again, that for gathering the user information, it then sends that back off to the next person to do their bit, and just streamlines the whole process. Again, you need to have a bit of a vision for what you want, but I'd encourage anybody to kind of just play around with it. And it's kind of, if you're using sort of really complex, maybe series of spreadsheets or something, you might be able to sort of solve yourself a bit of a problem sort of using Power Apps. And that is sort of the end of the list, really. What any sort of standout ones there for you?
From a marketing point of view, or anybody that's looking at their website or anything like that, it would definitely be Microsoft Clarity. I know it's not an official Microsoft stack and it doesn't sit within the ecosystem, but that tool, because it's free for a start, it just opens up so many avenues. And then Projects and Planner. it's the game changers on their own. We
Not
couldn't,
life changes,
not life changers,
game changers.
just game changers. Yeah, we couldn't. The team couldn't manage without them. It's our go-to at any one point. We know what anybody's working on. It's fantastic. It really is.
Awesome.
So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean that is the list for this. It's a bit of a short and sweet one this week.
Yeah.
Just due to one thing or another. But yeah, I know we've got some exciting stuff you guys are planning for the next few weeks.
Yeah, we have.
Any spoilers or?
No, we're new to TikTok. IT Desk gone on to TikTok. So yeah, that's funny. I feel old. It's made me feel old.
It's a different platform.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, with TikTok, there is opportunity there for a different style of content. You know, stuff that's maybe not as formal and stuff like that, which helps maybe gets the personality of like, you know, our team and our culture sort of across a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've also found some really good, relevant, you know, what I call professional content on there. I don't think it is just a place for, you know, funny dog videos and making people jump and stuff like that. No. But I've learned. I don't want to sound old either, but I'm also really sort of new to it. But it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is good. I just fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I could easily waste half an hour. What is all that about? I'm bad enough on Instagram. Never mind another one. So yeah, but so we're new to that. So that's all great, and can't wait to see what else team comes up with.
No, awesome. Well, yeah, anybody that's not following us on TikTok,
follow us.
Give us a is it like and subscribe? Or is that just YouTube?
Again, I'm old.
Wow.
I think it's a follow. I think they follow us.
Cool.
Yeah, we've only been on a week.
Maybe should know that.
I maybe should know that. Yeah. Sorry, bad at my job.
No. But no, thanks everybody for anybody that's watched this one today, and stay tuned, I guess, for more.
Yeah.
Exciting content.
Fab. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.